And this is Authentic Parenting, a podcast about personal development in the context of parenting, where I explore how you can find more calm, connection, and joy in parenting through the process of self-discovery and inner growth with a trauma-informed lens. Today, we are talking about how you can find focus, manage your time and energy better, feel balanced and in flow, have more fun, and become the best version of yourself. A perfect topic, a perfect episode for January 2020. My guest today is Kelly Pietrangeli. She is the creator of myprojectme.com, and she's the author of Project Me for Busy Mothers, a practical guide to finding a happier balance. Project Me is a movement to awaken those who are going through the motions of life under the guise of extreme busyness. Kelly helps us step out of autopilot by doing a Project Me life wheel check-in once a month. You'll get to hear all about this elegant tool, her framework, called Life Wheel. It's a flower-shaped tool and it has 8 petals that represent 8 key areas of your life. Kelly spent the first half of her life in Minnesota and California, and now she lives in London with her husband and their 2 amazing teenagers. Before we get to the episode, I would love to make a quick announcement. I am accepting new one-on-one coaching clients for 2020. This is the time to get on my calendar. If you've been thinking about working with me, I would be thrilled to support you on your parenting journey. You can learn more on my website, authenticparenting.com/services. And as a listener of the podcast, you always get a 10% discount on all my coaching packages. You can work with me from anywhere in the world. We can arrange an audio or a video call. It's easy and simple. If you have questions, if you have doubts, you don't know how it works, you can email me, info@authenticparenting.com. Or you can schedule a 15-minute free discovery call through my website. I would be happy to answer your questions, and I look forward to working with you and serving you in the new year. And now, please enjoy this lively conversation with Kelly Pietrangeli. Kelly, welcome to Authentic Parenting.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Yes, beginning of the year is a great time to talk about Project Me. But before we get into the meat and the potatoes of what you do, I want to ask you, how did you start this entire empire, this blog, this Project Me, the book? I know you have teenagers, so take us back when your kids were little and you were struggling as a mom.
Yeah, well, I always flash back to sort of when my kids were there. I have 2 boys, they were 3 and 6, and they were fighting with each other incessantly. The little one didn't listen to a word I said, and the older one was just, he always played the good cop. So, it was always a no, no, no to his brother. And I just remember I was just losing my mind with just trying to run the household, And I'd also lost my identity because I had given up a really glamorous career in the entertainment industry to be a stay-at-home mother. And gosh, my life back then, it just couldn't be more different than it is now. But when I flash back, I think about how much I struggled and how unfulfilled I felt, and then guilty for feeling unfulfilled because I had these 2 beautiful children and a husband and a nice house and, all of that. To answer your question, I started my Project Me for me. It was never going to be something that was going to be for the world. It was just a way of getting a handle on my life and trying to get more of a sense of balance. I just remember feeling really out of balance. I began to look at the individual areas that make up my life to see what was working, what wasn't, and what small steps could I take each month to improve just a couple of things. And that alone started making a really big difference. And then I teamed up with two girlfriends in 2008, and we created what we call our Power Posse. And that was an opportunity to get together with these friends and not be having sort of idle gossip or one-upping each other on who's got, the worst behaved kids or the laziest husband or, that kind of stuff. I don't know if you ever get caught up in conversations like that, but some women get together and they have what I call a coffee and a moan. And
Yes.
I just not like that. Like I just really wanted to get together with friends and think about positive things and how we could be making our lives better. And so, yeah, since 2008, my Power Posse and I have never missed a month. We've gotten together every month to just talk about our lives, and we take it in turns. We do it in quite a structured way in the sense that we see how much time we have and we divide that by three, and then one person gets the floor for that amount of time to talk about their life and how it's been going over the past month. We only do it a month at a time. And then we have a big January looking at the whole year and reflecting back over the previous year and all of that. So that's how it all began.
Wow, that sounds phenomenal. I actually like that idea because we actually talked on the podcast with my friend Christy Lorisella why we need to connect more. There is an episode that talks about why women particularly need other women, and Christy brought up a few points like that we sort of need something in common, a theme, a project to bring us together, sort of not to be productive per se, but something to bind us. And it makes you meet more frequently. There is a purpose, right? There is a direction, as opposed to just meeting for coffee and you're like, I'm not in a mood. I don't want to go, because there is nothing to look forward to. As opposed to this, you've been doing this for 11 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we have. And but we all say that we credit this with just our lives and how they are now. We think, oh my gosh, what if we hadn't done this? And, I've learned since, I mean, it's taken me a while to really, really understand the power of what I now call a we space. So it's kind of when Project Me becomes we, Project We. And when you get together with other like-minded women, there's like a shift in energy. And first of all, you begin to see outside of your own small perspectives and you expand your views on, other people's lives. Because even your really good friends are going to have different types of challenges than you. And it makes you feel gratitude for the things that maybe they're going through, that you can go home and think, oh gosh, well, at least that's not happening in my life. And it also makes you feel supported, because something that can feel really big in your head, after you've talked it out, you actually realize that all I need to really do is this and this, and it can really sort things out. It's amazing how just getting together in this kind of we space, just it lifts you into higher places.
That's amazing. I was a part of a mastermind last year, even though it was business oriented. But I know what you're talking about. It was very specific. We would get together each week, and it really changed a lot for me in terms of my business, my podcast, my personal growth, the support that you get, the perspective. I think this is a phenomenal idea. And maybe my community members can start little groups. I would love to see this idea take a
I
life.
really recommend it. And I'll give you a copy and you can have a look at it yourself, Anna, but I've got something called the Power Pal Pack, Power Pal Pack. And it's a way of you getting together with either one friend, I call that a Power Pal, or getting together with two or more, and that's a Power Posse. And it's how to kind of create what I've got with mine. And it gives you because otherwise you can get together and you can kind of be like, where do we begin? And it gives you some worksheets and some tools and some ideas to get you started on having these monthly meetups.
Listen, you are the queen of worksheets. Your website is such a gold mine. You have action worksheets, the steps, and everything.
I am all
Yeah.
about getting things out of your head and onto paper. I think that too often we try to figure things out in our head, or we're kind of like running through the same kind of challenges over and over again. And if we just print out one of these action sheets, I mean, again, I created these for myself. I'm a former graphic designer, so I'm just kind of the kind of person that loves visual tools and things. So everything you see there was created initially for myself with pen and paper and a ruler. And then when I created the website in 2013, I turned those into, nice PDFs so people can print them off and use them. And they're just so popular.
Yes. So one of the action sheets is called Challenge Solver Action Sheet. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit? I think it's a
Yeah.
good one.
It's such a good one, and it looks if you just look at it online, you think, yeah, whatever. But I tell you, if you print out a small stash of them, or just one to start with, but I always keep a few in my drawer. If you ever find yourself just trying to figure something out, but you're doing it intermittently, like you're making dinner, and then you're thinking, oh gosh, what am I going to do about that? And then you get interrupted, and you never kind of figure it out. And then the next time you're like, oh, you don't realize how much that's taxing you, how much that's mental bandwidth that's being taken up on trying to figure something out. And if you just whip out one of these challenge solver action sheets and succinctly in the box say what the challenge is, and then there's some more questions that just ask you, what is this problem costing me right now? And oftentimes it's just taking up too much of my headspace, or it could be something more depending on what it is. And then you start to brainstorm some ideas that you could do. No wrong or rights. You just start in the box writing down what are some steps I could take or things I could do. And before you know it, you 9 times out of 10 are on your way.
Yes, I like that it empowers the person to take some action and change something about a challenge that they face, as opposed to being stuck, right? And
Yeah, or feeling like a
complaining.
victim. Yeah, like, oh, this is happening. Instead, it's empowering to get into that position of, okay, I'm not seeing this as a problem. I'm seeing this as a challenge, and all the challenges can be overcome. Another thing that is like a surprise benefit that came from it after I started doing it regularly is that it helps me to be more mindful and present with what I'm doing and who I'm with, because I do my figuring it out time like separately. Like I sit down, take out one of these sheets and figure out my stuff separately than trying to figure it out when I'm trying to cook dinner, or trying to figure it out when I'm with my kids, or you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you're doing this dedicated figuring it out time, and it doesn't have to take very long, but ultimately it just means that you can be more present with who you're with and what you're doing.
Mm. So the project Me has looks like a beautiful flower. And by the way, we have a common love for rainbows and the colors of the
Yes.
rainbow.
I saw that. I love it. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's what attracted me originally to your work. The logo itself, and because it's so familiar and dear to my heart, the colors of the rainbow. So it has a shape of a flower. Is there a meaning in the flower, or it just looks good?
It was interesting because I knew that I wanted to create the Project Me Life Wheel tool, and I knew about the 8 key life areas that I wanted it to represent. And I knew that I wanted it to have like numbers in the middle with lines that you could circle, where you were each month on, 1 through 10, kind of scoring yourself and connecting the dots. And it's this whole kind of visual guide that shows you what you need to focus on for the month ahead. That's the whole idea behind it. Is you check in with the Project Me Life Wheel tool, using it once a month to see what needs your focus in the next coming weeks. And I knew I wanted to do that, and I kept kind of drawing it out. I mean, like I said, I'm a graphic designer. I kept kind of drawing out different ideas, and I just wanted it to look visually appealing and not just be like a pizza pie, with like kind of, and I wanted the words to be outside of the circle because I wanted you to be able to score in the middle. And it just kind of came to me in a vision. And I realized that if I put the life areas outside of the circle, then there would be room to do the work you needed to do inside of the circle. And voila, that's how it came to be. So all the different life areas. I mean, the logo itself is simplified. It just looks like 8 different colored petals on a flower. But when you look at the actual life wheel itself, the download that you get, it's got each of those petals represents a different color-coded life area.
And remind me, the listener can get the download for free on your website, correct?
Yeah, myprojectme.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes the life wheel comes with life area prompts. So it takes you through each of those 8 key life areas, and it gives you some things to think about, because it can be kind of hard to just think about your life like when you haven't got any examples or any prompts or anything. But when you've got these really helpful prompts asking you some questions about how each area of your life is going, it really, helps the process.
Yes, I like that it's the shape of the flower. I thought it signifies growth, flourishing.
Oh, all of that, of course. And the most amazing thing, and this is brand new, like even my tribe don't know this yet. I'm about to kind of announce it, but I'll tell you now since you're asking me about the flower itself. Once I took the numbering system out of the middle of it to just make it the normal logo, like, the life wheel has the numbers in the middle and the life areas on each petal. But to simplify it just to be the logo for Project Me, it would just have this big white space in the middle. It was just this big empty white space. So I just put a red circle in the middle. And that was just to fill up the white space, just to make it visually look more attractive.
Mhm.
And it's only now that it's hitting me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh my goodness, the circle in the middle is yourself, as in self with a capital S. And
Mm.
it's everything. It is the connection to your source. It's the connection to, there's many ways that you can interpret it depending on your own kind of belief system. But that circle in the middle is not just a random circle as I originally thought it was. I'm now seeing that everything else branches out from that and flourishes from that. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I'm a huge fan of circles. As you can tell, the way I designed my
Uh-huh.
podcast logo is it has circles as well because they signify life.
Yeah.
So circles. I don't want to hijack this conversation and talk
No,
about
I love it.
logos and symbols, but I am a sucker for graphic design, logos, words. When I drive in the car or wherever I go, my eye always looks at graphic things, and I try to interpret and criticize in my mind, say, I would have done it differently. Wow, this is amazing. This makes sense. How did they come up with that? Like my mind automatically focuses on this type of stuff. So I'm a I'm a sucker for
Mine does too. So it's amazing to hear someone else who interprets the world that way.
Yes. And I always like find meaning in things. And when I designed the logo for the Authentic Parenting podcast, it took me a while. I had a concept, but when it all came together, it was like, wow, so amazing. Each line, each detail has a meaning, right? And I never shared it with my listeners, and maybe one day I will. But let me ask you then about the 8 areas, the 8 petals of the flower.
Yeah, sure. So one of the petals is family, and another one is love. And I separated out, kind of love and marriage and family, because in the beginning, when I created my own Project Me, and I was, doing this for myself, I had that together. I had family, including my husband, and then I started to realize that I really couldn't lump my husband in the same category as, my kids. Like that it needs its own focus.
Mm-hmm.
So we have family, love, health, health and well-being, work. And for that petal, I always say to women, if you're not working, if your work is raising your children, then you can always use that petal for things like, volunteer work. A lot of mothers volunteer at school, or they volunteer through their church, or, lots of different ways. So work is something, it's a little subjective, but if you do have a job, or you have your own business or that kind of thing, it's a way for you to reflect on that once a month. And then there's money and finances, fun and friendships. That's a really important one. That it's amazing because and friendships are so important in my life. It's never been something that I score myself a high score every month in that. It just comes natural to me. But now that I've been working with so many women over the past few years, I realize how many are not having enough fun. Like life is just about like their to-do list and getting things done, and about the kids and everything, but the fun seems to have dried up for a lot of women. So that's why one of the action sheets that you'll find on that page you were just talking about on my website is one called the Fun Seeker action sheet. And it actually helps you to be able to look at what you used to find fun when you were younger and how you can just rediscover fun or inject some more fun into your life. And then there's personal growth, and that is everything to do with yourself, your growth as a person. The whole of Project Me is really, your personal growth, but it's different for everybody that month when they're reflecting. For me, it's like, how's my meditation practice been going? Have I been doing the things that raise my vibrations and lift me higher and connect me to my source and all of that? But the prompts that I put in the life wheel are general enough that anybody can be using that pedal for, a multitude of things. And then last but not least is productivity. And the reason it was added last is because I never thought about it as a separate kind of entity. I never thought it was something that never occurred to me that it was something that needed some specific focus. But every month when I was kind of doing my own life wheel check-in many years ago, it was still things were still falling through the cracks, and I was still feeling like a headless chicken. and and it wasn't until I started reading a lot of books on productivity that I realized, my goodness, when I put some systems in place, some systems for meal planning, for example, or like making some systems so that some of the other stuff goes well. Like I want to work out, but I need a system for that. I need to like schedule in my workouts every week, and things like managing my to-do list and my time and all of that. So once I began to really focus on that as it's like its own separate entity, that was the missing piece of the puzzle, and everything fell into place from there.
Mm. Give us some hacks in terms of how can moms, increase their productivity. I mean, most of motherhood, especially when you have young children, is tedious, repetitious work, right? You're tidying up the house, you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're washing their little sippy cups and, stuff like that. Do you think, what can you give us, like some suggestion or a hack or a
Oh
tool?
yeah, I've got I've got plenty, but my biggest one and the one that gets people the best results with the easiest one
Mhm.
is the Design My Day action sheet. So again, that's a free download on myprojectme.com. And designing your day, even if you normally have, like a lot of people have like little organizers, their diary, that they put little boxes, right, where they can kind of put in what they have scheduled that day or something. But this is a proper like one page of for each day, and you write down where you need to be and when, and you write down your 3 MITs, and that stands for your most important task. So at the beginning of the day, you're actually saying, if I got only 3 things done today, what would be the 3 things that are going to make me fall into bed at night and feel like I did it, Or what are 3 things that have to be done today because I've left them to the last minute? I teach a lot of that with my productivity training is, how to not wait until things become urgent and important before you start doing them. We procrastinate on things and then suddenly there's a deadline.
Mm.
And so in the beginning, when you're just kind of getting started with all this, you may find that your 3 MITs every day are just that deadline related stuff. But after a while, when you start to work on doing things that are important but not urgent yet, that is when it really frees you up to be able to choose 3 things that might be a project that you want to get stuck into, or something like a little juicier than just trying to tackle some major burning issue. And then there's some more places that you could. I've got the top of it, what you're grateful for each day. I think you should begin your day with gratitude every single day, and also choosing your feelings, like actually saying, today I will feel, and thinking about how you want to feel today, and choosing some guiding emotions for how you want to feel. This sheet alone changes people's lives. I just get such amazing feedback from this. And then there's one called Design My Weekend, because weekends need to feel different from others. Too often the weekend comes and it's just more getting stuff done, or driving kids to, different sports activities, or, just running around all the time at weekends too. And so the weekend one, I designed it all about, helping mothers to do something for themselves each weekend, making sure they do something fun every weekend that's fun for them. And then there's a small list of stuff to get done, and then a weekend wish list. And that's like things that you would really like to do, and things that sometimes the whole weekend goes by and you think, gosh, I really wanted to sit down and play a board game with the kids this weekend, and it just didn't happen. Or it could be something like, this is the weekend I was really going to reorganize my wardrobe and take all the seasonal clothes and move them and finally get my clothes in order, so I'm not, scrambling around every morning trying to just when I'm getting dressed. Or the same with the kids' wardrobes or something. It can be that kind of thing, and it's not something that has to get done, but it's those kind of things that if we just wrote it down and referred to it on Saturday and Sunday, those kind of things could happen.
Yeah, what I hear is you just put intentionality into your day, into your morning, into your weekend, which of course translates into your life,
Yeah, exactly. And
right?
then what happens is what people in the beginning, some resist this because they're like, "Oh, I just really like to be. I don't like too much structure." But what happens? The great thing is when I give them like a design my day challenge, like a 2-week challenge. I'm like, design your day every day for 2 weeks, and come back to me and just tell me whether you still this isn't working for you or what. And they come back, they, "Oh my gosh, I see that when I actually create just a little bit of structure, just a little bit of just knowing what I'm going to be doing each day, like you said, setting my intentions, and then suddenly I feel like I'm not always chasing my tail, and I'm like, it frees them up to be more in flow.
In control, to have that sense of I am in control, as opposed to my life is a mess and chaotic and I don't know, it's overwhelming. I think some people naturally are more structured. They think like this. Like this kind of person too. Naturally my mind organizes things, and it gives me a sense of comfort. And of course, I'm in charge. I have my three big things per day. I didn't know I could call them MIT, but I'm going to start using that. It's very cute. I do have like a major list of ongoing things. So when I accomplish my three things per day, then I can take a look at my major master to-do list and say, what can I do now? I have some free time. I think that makes a big difference. And I'm not always overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, I have so much to do. When you do three things per day, you feel accomplished. It gives you a concrete feeling of I started something and I finished something. It's a good feeling.
It really is. And you're amazed at how when you just get this little bit of structure in your life and stop just doing whatever's in front of your face every day and just be more intentional, how much you can actually get done. I mean, if you'd ever told me that I would be able to write a whole book, it would have taken me years to write a book, right? I mean, like a long time to write a book with my old way of doing things. But with this way, it was like I was able to say, okay, I'm going to set Tuesdays aside. It was called my Sacred Writing Tuesday. And I'm just going to work on my book uninterrupted on Tuesdays. Kids were in school and I didn't make any plans to do anything else. That was not going to be a day when I would go to the gym or meet up with a friend for coffee or, organize anything else. Tell my husband, like, please don't send me messages, and I wouldn't look at my email. And that is how you can write a whole book, or that is how you can start a business, or that is how you can achieve anything that you kind of dream of doing that you think you won't be able to do until the kids get older, or until, we always make these excuses up, right? We'll do that one day when, and that one day for a lot of people just it doesn't happen, and then they get frustrated and they feel unfulfilled. And really, you can structure your life, and you can make time for anything that's important to you.
Yes, I think that's the key. It has to be important and essential so that you can carve out time for that particular thing. If not, then your time and attention is going to be hijacked by other things, because there's so many things that come at us and steal our resources, our time and attention. And of course, there was a good quote, right? If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will.
Oh, so true. So true. And I was just thinking about this the other day. I've always been a busy person. I've never bored. There's always something to do. And when the kids were little, I was just busy, busy, busy. Like always running here, there, and everywhere. And like I said, feeling frazzled and all of that. And the crazy thing to think about is that once I decided to turn Project Me into a business, and I launched the website in 2013, suddenly now I had an online business, and I was the beginning it was a blog, and then it morphed into coaching, and then it morphed into like online programs, and it kept kind of growing into more and more. And I sat there thinking, what did I used to be so busy with when I'm working full time now with Project Me? I still had two kids at home, two kids that needed my attention. And it's just incredible how time contracts or expands to fill whatever you decide to fill it with. And other things that that used to take up my time just fell by the wayside. And I didn't let things, because I was doing my life wheel check-in every month, nothing was falling through the cracks that was important, in the sense of I was still making sure that I kept up with my health and fitness goals. I was still making sure that my family life was really balanced, and I never work weekends and never work evenings. I was making sure that my marriage was going really well, and that I was still seeing friends. And if I'm just going through the life wheel, like
Mhm.
everything that needed to happen in order for my life to still feel a nice sense of balance all happened. But I guess it was just the kind of time wasting stuff that just evaporated.
Yes, I agree with that. I strongly agree with that. Time is a very elusive concept. Sometimes it feels like we don't have time at all, right? It's like
Mhm.
we're running out of time. Sometimes I feel like, wow, I accomplished so much and I still have time. I can't believe it. It's like it's in your mind, basically, how you think about, how you perceive, and what what you focus your attention and your time, you give your attention and time to, basically. I mean, there are so many time suckers in our life: social media, Instagram, engaging in Facebook comments unnecessarily, that turn into arguments, and now you have to go back and contribute even more, and then you never question even why I even started this. Or you watch TV. Like, I don't watch TV, for example. It's a huge time saver, for example.
Mhm.
um,
What's interesting is that I realized that one of the things I used to do is I would go food shopping, supermarket shopping, and I would spend ages in there, as in I just read the label on everything and go, oh, it's 2 for 3, 3 for 2. Which will I get as my extra one? And comparing this and comparing that, and wasting time by not meal planning before I went there. So kind of having to go back down 3 aisles when I got an idea. Oh, I could make this. Oh, now I got to go back down to that aisle and get the onions, or that kind of thing. And by just being more organized in meal planning at the beginning of the week, and knowing exactly what I'm going to cook every week, and then making one to-do list. And well, now I do online shopping, so have it delivered to my door. But even when I do go to a supermarket now, I just have my list on an app on my phone, and it's all organized by kind of everything that's in the fruit and vegetable sections in that section, and everything that's in the canned goods is over there. And sorry, I live in London. If I'm using, I never know. Even though I grew up in America, I have lived in the UK for so long that I never know anymore whether I'm saying British terminology or American terminology. So if this sounds a bit odd, that's why. But I just realized how much time I used to spend even with the just feeding my family. I used to think like feeding my family was the bane of my existence. I used to moan about it all the time, like, oh, why does everybody have to eat every day? And it was always figuring out what I was going to feed everybody. Now it's just something that I just do so quick and easy, and it doesn't feel like a big issue anymore. It doesn't feel like it doesn't take up much of my time.
I
And
yes.
it was the same thing when, like, say one of my kids had a birthday party to go to, a friend's birthday party, and I would think, oh, I really need to go to, a shop and buy a toy or something for them to give. I would get to the shop and I would look everyone, oh, they don't have here what I had in mind. I would go to another shop. And then while I was there, I'd think, oh, while I'm in this department store, I should really go up to the kitchen department and get that like pan I've been wanting to get. And then when you're there, and the next thing you know, like 2 hours have gone by, rather than something that you could have just darted into the shop and gotten something for this kid's birthday party and gotten out. You know what I mean? So I think that when I think back on why I was busy, busy, busy all the time, and how once I started my business, everything that needed to get done still got done. It was I just stopped all that.
Yes. Well, it takes a certain amount of discipline. I mean, let's face it, right? It takes a lot of self-discipline, and you have to value your time. You have to value your life. I think most people, and that this could be cause, I'm not sure, I'm just speculating here out loud. People who have low self esteem, low self image, or shame, or feel unworthy, they don't deserve good stuff in life. I think I've noticed, and it's most of us, right? We have a tendency not to value ourselves, not to value our time as well, right? Time is a commodity. So when you begin to value yourself, heal your wounds, heal your shame, and know who you are, and discover that you deserve good stuff, that you deserve your time, then you start to be protective of those important things and give your time and attention to what really matters.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. You've put it so well. Yeah, Anna, absolutely. I think my own project me has obviously evolved so much over the years. My boys are now 20 and 17.
Oh,
And
wow.
so you can imagine that, I've been doing these life wheel check-ins for so many years now. And like I said, 11 years of doing it also with my two friends. And then of course starting the business and just doing it alongside of women who are working on their project me's from all over the world. And my own personal project me now, not talking about the business or the website or anything. I'm just talking about me, my personal project me. The personal growth area of my life now feels like it's my most vital focus each month. And it has changed from being like, oh, I just want to get into a meditation habit, or oh, I'd like to get to a yoga class, at least once a week, or that kind of thing. That was how I used to, look at it. Now I look at it like the more I bathe myself in inspiration and meditation and breathing and books and podcasts, and just the more I bathe myself in this kind of high vibe stuff, the more everything I do in life just happens with ease and flow. Like it's just incredible how focusing on that one pedal on the life wheel,
Mhm.
it is just it's incredible how well, I'm now so into energy now and understanding about energy and how everything is energy, right? And understanding that our emotions create a vibrational frequency. And as you were saying, if our emotions are oftentimes in that kind of, self doubt or worry or insecurity or unworthiness, then that is the vibration that we're also attracting back. And so, yeah, working on ourselves is just, it's the most important gift we can give to ourselves, to our family, and in the world.
Mm. So, if somebody wants to begin the wheel, is there a particular area, let's say personal growth or health, perhaps, that they can start with? Or
Here's what I always say: you are the expert of you. Like, what I'm kind of like training everybody to do is be their own life coach. And that isn't to say that you can't ever have a different coach, or you can't, get outside help or anything like that. But I really believe that we can be our own best life coaches. We know our lives better than anybody else. We might not know our lives better than anybody else in the beginning, but once we start checking in with our 8 key life areas once a month consistently, we do know our lives better than anybody else. And so to answer your question, when you do this for, I would challenge anybody listening to, say you're going to do this every month for the first quarter of the year, just to see how you get on. And then, because sometimes if you think you're going to do something every month, it can be, say you're going to do it for the first quarter of the year and check in. And then you start to see for yourself what needs your focus. So I would never tell you, oh, I think that you need to start with your health and fitness, or I think that you need to start with your productivity. You really quickly learn by checking in with your life once a month what needs your focus. And then you use the other accompanying action sheets it's called Ideas into Action, All of this, by the way, I've just put into a workbook called a monthly date with me. And it's a workbook because so many people were printing out these individual action sheets all the time. And when you really start to do this every single month and you're doing it consistently, these flying bits of paper everywhere, even if you're thinking you're going to hole punch them and put them in a nice folder and all of that, it can end up getting kind of messy. So again, you're the first one, the first person I'm telling about this. I'm holding the file copy in my hand right now. It's so exciting. But this is called the Date with Me workbook. And it is you having a monthly date with yourself, doing that life wheel check-in. And then there's some other sheets in there too, like the My Dream Vision sheet. And that's where you visualize an area of your life that maybe isn't going so well. Maybe it is an area of your life that you really want to improve. You visualize and you write down, there's like questions, and you answer these questions, and you get your dream vision in your mind of how you want that area of your life to look and feel and be. And it's incredible how putting your heart energy into it and setting your intention, and then you turn the page, the ideas into action sheet, and you're like, what are just some ideas I have for how I can begin to bring that dream vision into my life? What are 3 small steps I can take? And it's incredible how it works.
Mm. So by looking at your wheel, let's say for this month, December, do you do it in the beginning of the month or?
That again is up to the individual. I have a membership club called Project We, and with Project We do it the first week of every month. That because we're all doing it together, it's just quite good that we give ourselves a deadline, like 7 days, from the 1st until the 7th to check in. And then there's a place in the group where you come in and you report back on your check-in, and if you had any ahas, or you write down what your intentions are and that kind of thing. So, but you can do it every calendar month as well. You could say I'm going to do it once a month. But it's kind of good to have. I wouldn't say the same day every month, because you never know what's going to happen that day. You might not be able to have a date with yourself on the 1st of every month. But I think giving yourself that kind of week leeway where you say, I'm going to do it the first week of every month, is a really great idea.
Mm. When you did the last time, what area for you was that you need to focus on? What
Oh,
stood
that's
out?
interesting, because I'm meeting up with my Power Posse this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to be doing my check-in tonight. Tonight's my date with me. My husband's away on a business trip, and I'm going to have a bath, candlelit bath. And I'm going to go into my bedroom and light my candles. And like, my bedroom is my sanctuary. It's where, some people have their date with me at like a cafe, or, they take themselves out of the house somewhere, or they do it at their kitchen counter with a cup of tea or whatever. For me, my bed, my bed is my happy place. And I just love having all my pillows plumped up behind me and my candles, and, you know what I mean? And so that is where I'm going to do my December check-in.
Okay, I'm curious. So let's say I took an inventory of my life and I am struggling in the health and money department. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. It's not high ranking. So what do I need to do? What are
Well,
my
which
next
which
steps?
area do you want to focus on, health or money?
Let's say health.
Okay, health. So,
Mhm.
the first question to ask yourself always with health is, are you up to date with your screenings and your tests, like your smear test, or if you need a mammogram or mole checks or anything like that? Because that's the most important thing to know, is whether you're up to date with your screenings.
I'm not.
Okay. So right away, you know that, I'm not saying that you would need to like book in for that appointment to do it in December, but you would need to book in to do it for January.
Hmm.
So that's like the first thing, because at the end of the day, we're so lucky that we live in a day and age where we can catch things, before they turn serious. And so doing these routine checks are just so important. I had a funny looking mole checked out, and it turned out to be skin cancer. And if I had just continued to ignore it, but it was because I had the life wheel prompt that said, do you have anything that you need checked out? I'm like, oh yeah, I've been kind of like ignoring that. And I got it cut out in an easy procedure, and everything was fine from there. And I had a woman write to me last year and said, I cannot thank you enough, because the life area prompt that asked me if I was up to date with my screenings, I ended up discovering that I had breast cancer, and I discovered it early enough to have it treated, and I'm fine now. And I just want to say thank you for that prompt.
Oh, wow.
I know. Okay, so other questions are just things like how are your physical energy levels? Are you feeling physically good? Are is your immune system strong this month?
Yeah, I think so. Mhm.
Mhm. That's one thing we'd be like, "Oh, no, I've had, like, one stinking cold after another,
Mm.
now I seem to catch everything going around." That would be something that would you'd flag up and you'd think, "Okay, one action I could take is," and, an idea I have is to look at my vitamins and you know what I mean, that kind of thing, like, maybe I need to take some vitamins and minerals or you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So another question I would ask you is, are you eating nutritious, well-balanced meals? Are you feeling like you're eating well?
Yes and no. It depends on a day. It could be better.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Are you, moving your body and making time for physical fitness?
Yes. I think
Great,
so. Yeah,
great.
I walk every day. Yes.
And then also in health and well-being, we've got kind of mental fitness. So how's your mental fitness? Would you like to create a meditation or a mindfulness practice or anything for your mental well-being?
I do have a meditation practice. I would like to be more consistent, and that's my goal for 2020. But I do have a meditation practice.
Great. And do you make time to rest, relax, or do things just for you?
Yes.
Great. Good. I love to hear that. And, do you listen to your body? Like, do you understand the signals it gives you? If you're feeling super bloated, do you know what that means? Or, if you're feeling like certain pains or something, do you feel like you've got a good relationship with your body that when it sends you signals, you know what they mean, or you at least are aware of your signals, you don't kind of override them?
I think so. I think I'm better than most people. Even my doctor has commented on that. I think I am in tune with my own body. Let's say if I eat sugar, which I normally don't eat, let's say I ate a piece of cake or something at someone's birthday, I know for sure the next day I'm gonna have like a hangover type of thing, like a
Mhm.
toxic, because I normally don't eat sugar, and when I eat once in a blue moon, I feel it in my body. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, many, many years ago, before I even had kids, I always called the time before kids the time BC, before children, before children. In the days BC for me, if I had a blinding headache, which I would just get frequent headaches, I would just like, pop open the, pain relief and take a couple of tablets and get on with my day. And it wasn't until I spoke to a nutritionist one time and he started asking me questions and everything. And I was telling him how frequently I have headaches and it turned out that I was totally allergic to MSG. But now MSG is just not even in foods anymore. But we're talking about this is the mid '90s or something, and I started reading food labels and realizing how much monosodium glutamate was in so many foods, and all I did was pay attention and not buy foods like that and not a lot of Chinese restaurants were putting MSG in foods at the time, and it was incredible how that the headaches just stopped. And so by you saying that, but you know that if you eat some sugar, the next day you're going to get this kind of hangovery headache. That is the fact that you've got a good relationship with your body, and you're not just going, "Oh, I've got another headache," and you're taking a pill.
I never take a pill. I honestly, I rather suffer.
Me too. I feel like I should just
I
suffer and figure out why I have this headache
yes.
rather than, is it tension? Do I have a tension headache? Is it because I've got stress? Is it, self-induced hangover? Is it because I ate something funny, the day before? I start scanning through what I ate. So that is part of this whole checking in with yourself once a month as it becomes you so much more
Mm.
it helps you to become so much more in tune with your body. So just one more question I'm going to ask you is are you getting good quality sleep? How's your sleep?
Not so great. No, my
Is
sleep
that
is
self-induced because you stay up too late, you're not getting to bed early enough, or is it because of children?
no. It's not because of children. My kid is 11.
Mhm.
Independent. It's not. I go to bed early. Like by 9:30, I'm in bed every day. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's one area I try to And maybe I am sleeping better than I think. And I actually wanted to go to do some sleep to the Sleep Institute and get my sleep checked because I was like, I don't think I'm getting good sleep, but I'm rested. When I get up, I am full of
Hmm.
energy. I'm rested. But to me, I have this sense that my sleep is not of good quality. I don't know.
Well, this is what's great is if you're doing a check-in once a month, this month you might be thinking, I don't know if this is an issue or not. I'm not sure. And then next month, you're more aware of it. When that question comes up again next month, you think, you know what? I've been paying more attention since that last question, and it's not actually an issue. I think I'm making it up in my mind that I need to have 8 solid hours of sleep. But in actuality, I'm functioning well. I feel my best, and it's not an issue. Or it could be the opposite. It could be I'm realizing that I really want to do something about this, and this is the month I'm going to take some action.
Yeah, going back to the MSG, I just realized that there is a place here in my town. It's an Asian sushi fusion Asian type of restaurant, and the last two times that I ate there, I had that MSG induced headache, and I
Yeah.
like a sinus type of headache. And I told my
Mhm.
husband, and he had the same symptoms. I said, listen, I think they might be using MSG because I don't feel good after eating there. And he said, let's test it again. We went there again. We tested it again. I said, never, ever again. I'm not eating in
No.
that restaurant.
I know. I call it the MSG headache. And sometimes it hits me. I go, wait a minute, why do I have an MSG headache? Where did this come from? And I have to start scanning through everything that, I've eaten the day before. And if I've eaten out, I never get it at home anymore because I don't eat anything that would have MSG in it at home. But it's if you eat out at a restaurant, you think, I can't believe it. They must have, maybe it's not MSG, but it's some kind of an additive that my body is going, does not like that.
I agree. Also, if I eat, well, normally I eat the same amount of food every day, right? And if I change that balance, if one day I overeat for whatever meal or it's unusual amount, the next day I'm not going to feel
Yeah,
well
I know.
for sure.
I know that feeling too. Yeah, so, checking in with the health and well-being area of your life once a month just helps you to become more in touch with yourself, and you begin to see over the months repeated things, and then you can do something about it. And likewise, what I love about the life wheel is that it also gives you a chance to reflect on how well some areas of your life are going consistently. You can just be like, feel really good about it and feel really appreciative of it. Because sometimes we only notice the things that we're only too willing to beat ourselves up for the things that aren't going well, right? And we don't give ourselves nearly enough credit for the things that are going great.
Yes, I think I can't emphasize that enough. I think that should be a practice in and of itself to pause and celebrate the little wins, the good things that we're accomplishing, give ourselves credit as moms and dads for the hard work of parenthood and just being a human in this world with no support and so much distraction in our world.
Exactly. So, I mean, that was just an example of some of the prompts that are with the life wheel for the health and well-being section. There's a few more questions, but I won't go into everything. But it would just mean that at the end of this reflection, you would go to the life wheel and there's a little 1 through 10. Now, a 10 does not mean perfect. We are never ever aiming for perfection, and a 10 means it's going as good as it can this month, and it doesn't need my focus. It doesn't need any actions. It doesn't need anything. And a lower score, I mean, like I would say reserve a 1 or a 2 for like a crisis situation. Sometimes we could be too easy to go, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But really, a 1 or 2 is for a crisis. But, if it's something like a 4 or a 5 or a 6, then you can, when you turn the next page and you get to the ideas into action, you can put which life area you want to focus on and what your idea is to up your score so that next month, hopefully, you can give yourself a higher score, and you just take those small step actions.
And this way, I think if you check in every month, then you see your progress. You see that the challenges that you had in your family petal, let's say, you worked on them. Next month, they're no longer there. It gives you this perspective, this, right?
Oh,
This,
absolutely. I love it. Yeah. In my Project We membership group, one of my members, Sarah, she held up her life wheel. She did a picture of her holding up her life wheel from 1 year previously to the next. It was her first year of ever doing this every month. And her flower blossomed. It went from this, when you're scoring yourself low, it's just a really small zigzaggy circle. And it expanded into this. She was just like, wow, like now look at my life. And again, I have to say, we're not trying to score a 10 in each area of our lives every single month either, because what happens is once you get past the kind of the nitty gritty, you figure out what's really not working, and you start to build the good foundation between you. Then what happens is there's more like little nuances, so like for me, it's not like I mark a 10 even though my life is amazing. I don't mark myself a 10 every month, because I just kind of think, oh, I would like to give this a little bit more focus, so I'll give myself more like a 7 or an 8, just to flag it up as something that I want to give more focus to in the month ahead.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, Kelly, I truly enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
I sense your energy, and I can't wait to share this in our community. Maybe they can start a project. Maybe for the month of January, we can have your book as our book for the book club, and just to start the year differently and take charge of our life. And before we say goodbye, parting words, what words of encouragement, advice, or just anything, a quote maybe you would like to share with the listener before we say goodbye?
Oh, goodness. Well, I would just want to wish everybody an amazing 2020, and just tell everybody that, you're the conscious creator of your life. So if you ever feel like, life is happening to you, just reframe that and choose to design your life the way that you want it to go. Give up the blame game, give up the thinking that things are happening to you, and just, oh my gosh, just become the creator of your life and watch what happens.
Thank you. And that's it, my dear listener, for this episode of the Authentic Parenting Podcast. I would love to hear, what are your key takeaways from this episode? Did you enjoy Kelly's message? What are your goals, dreams, and ambitions for 2020? Let's continue the conversation in our private Facebook group. Also, did you have a chance to listen to the final episode of 2019? What do you think? How about the 2-part series, an update from the past coaching guests of the podcast? If you haven't listened to those episodes, you have a bit of a catching up to do, my friend. As I promised, I made a playlist of all the on-air coaching episodes on Spotify. Search on-air coaching episodes of Authentic Parenting and you'll get to the playlist. And I created another playlist of all the episodes of the top 10 of 2019. That playlist is called Top 10 Episodes of 2019 Authentic Parenting Podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, as you don't want to miss upcoming episodes. And I have some amazing content coming up in the new year. Follow me on Instagram to see what I'm up to in my daily life. And of course, I invite you to get on my calendar and work with me. I am accepting new one-on-one coaching clients. You can be anywhere in the world. We can arrange an audio or video call, and your partner can join the call for free. And as a listener of the podcast, you get a 10% discount. Don't hesitate. If you have questions, get in touch. I look forward to serving you. By now, you know my style and my philosophy about parenting and child rearing. You've heard me many times on those on-air coaching episodes, how I work with people. So If you want to transform your parenting, gain new skills in the new year, this is the time. Let's do it. Let's team up. I'll be happy to partner up with you and help you on the parenting journey. And as always, connect to the present moment, to yourself and your children. Until next week, I am Anna Seewald. Thank you so much for listening.